We wanted to bring a different environment to some of the presentations that we were doing with Cultural Connections, and thought this would be an ideal place to have some fun, have some fellowship, and truly show how African Americans and Filipinos engaged in this sporting activity called bowling.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started now. So first we have Estrella Alamar of the Filipino American Historical Society of Chicago and Sherry Williams with Bronzeville Black Chicago Historical Society, and they're going to welcome you here today.
Thank you. Welcome to the Lincoln Square bowling lanes. We're pleased to have you here in a somewhat different setting for Cultural Connections, but it fits in with our program today, and so I hope you'll enjoy it with us. I'm Estrella Alamar, representing the Filipino American Historical Society of Chicago. Yeah, it's better. I'd like to tell you that our Historical Society is celebrating its 22nd anniversary this year. And we've been with Cultural Connections for the past 9 or 10 years, near its beginning when it first started. We've been very happy and pleased to be with the program. We've done so many different types of programs, and partnerships have been really very excellent relationships with the various organizations that we've been working with. Our organization, Filipino American Historical Society, records, saves, preserves the history of our Filipino American community in Chicago. And that history goes back to the 1920s. In your packet, you'll find the program, and you would be able to read about our short history in the program. But right now, I'd just like to welcome you, and let's have a good time today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Estrella. My name is Sherry Williams, and I'm the director of the Bronzeville Black Chicagoan Historical Society. And I, too, welcome you here to Lincoln Lanes. The setting here, the bowling alley, was the brainchild of Estrella. We both agreed that we wanted to bring a different environment to some of the presentations that we were doing with Cultural Connections, and thought this would be an ideal place to have some fun, have some fellowship, and truly show how African Americans and Filipinos engaged in this sporting activity called bowling. Estrella and I have been friends for close to 9 years now. She invited me to Cultural Connections some 9 years ago, and since then we have developed a friendship, and also found out that our communities had such parity when it came to segregation in different sporting activities, housing, education, and other areas of what we consider just the quality of life. And so we thought it best to come here and have our communities represented, and also discuss the history of how bowling certainly is one of the premier places where segregation and civil rights began. The end of segregation ended, and civil rights began. So I'm trusting that everyone will get fantastic information, see a wonderful presentation from bowlers, and have some fun. And so I bring you now back to Mario.
Thank you, Sherry. But actually today, I think Rosa's doing me a favor, and she's going to give us the anthropological framework for today's event.
Thank you, Mario. I would like to point out that today's event is being taped and will be cablecast by CAN TV. Thank you to a partnership between Cultural Connections and CAN TV. And we are also partnering with Chicago Public Radio. They are going to be taping the event as well, and you will have a chance to listen to the event through Chicago Amplify. And the way you can find out when this program is going to air is by checking their website, and you can find their website on the back of the program brochure that you should all have. Now, for some of you who are new to the program, Cultural Connections is a partnership between over 25 community-based ethnic museums and the Film Museum. And these partners are dedicated to promote cultural understanding, and we do this through comparative presentations like this presentation here today between the Bronzeville Black Chicago Society and also the Filipino American Historical Society of Chicago. These comparative presentations give us a great opportunity to learn about different cultural groups, but also to reflect on our own cultural practices. So I want to highlight a couple of reminders about culture. Wanted to let you know or re-emphasize that all humans have culture. Even Americans have culture. So all of us here today are cultural beings. In other words, culture is not restricted to people who see themselves as ethnic or as ethnic American. You know, for example, a really good way of looking at cultural practices that are very American rooted is when all of us go to the mall on the weekends, right? Also when we watch Monday Night Football. That's very American, but also, you know, having a very individualistic and entrepreneur outlook about life is very much very distinctive of American culture. Another thing we always like to remind people is that culture is dynamic and is always changing. There is no such thing as culture being stuck in time. And that is because, you know, humans are very flexible and very creative. So we're constantly trying to find solutions to our common needs. And, you know, this is what we call a common concern. The way we go about finding solutions to these common concerns very much depends on the environment, right? The resources that are available to us, but also our personal outlook and our experiences in life. So these different solutions is what we all call what? What do we call when we give responses to these different concerns? Any volunteers? That's right, cultural diversity, that we are all so familiar about. Contrary to popular belief, we also like to point out that, you know, instead of looking as cultural diversity as a source of conflict, diversity is indeed one of humans' greatest assets. And why is that? Because this is the way that through our creativity that resides in this diversity, we can find these different responses to our common needs and improve our quality of life. So, you know, a couple of other things to keep in mind so that we can make your experience here today, you know, the best we can so that you can get the most out of it, is we always like to remind people that please keep aware that your own understanding about others stems from your own cultural perspective. What do we mean by that? You know, we all bring with us our own cultural lens, right? And this way of thinking about other people is learned. we go through life learning these different ways of how to have an outlook on the world around us. So cultural understanding requires that we reflect upon our own cultural biases, right? And be able to revise our ideas when there needs to be. Another point that is very important is to keep in mind that communities are not homogeneous, right? They are far from being the same. So the presenters in this program today are going to give you their own perspective, but that doesn't mean that it is the only perspective from the Filipino community or the African American community. So this is very important to keep in mind. So as outsider, you know, one of the things that you are in a great position to do here today is to have your own perspective, right? You don't have to agree or you don't have to disagree with what you're saying. But what we would like you to remind you is that, you know, they're not going to give you an analysis of what you are experiencing here today. It's up to you to be able to do that, to ask questions about, you know, why do I feel the way I feel about listening to what these presenters are providing here today, and why do I feel this way? What are the reasons? So, you know, every year, as many of you know, we have an overarching theme, and this year is Bodies in Motion. So under this theme, Cultural Connections partners are comparing athletic activities that are valued and practiced in their own communities. And the way we are defining athletic is in a very broad sense. You know, we're talking about physical activities that require characteristics, for example, like strength and determination. So everything from sports that are well known here in the United States to, for example, hiking, yoga, Tai Chi, dance, and any other physical performances. So this is very consistent with our anthropological angle of the program. Partners consider such issues as how physical activities shape identity. This is very important, and how these physical ideas also unite or mobilizes communities throughout the country, and also how they displace or teach certain ideas and values in their own community. So today we're going to hear the Filipino and the African American communities talking about bowling, and especially bowling in leagues. And presenters will highlight how bowling style, what are the reasons why bowling has been so important in their community, but also the social circumstances in which they came to do this specific athletic practice. One of the things that we also like to remind people, you know, take notes and think about, is there anything strange or unusual that you have experienced here today? And this is one way of think about cultural differences. Just a couple of logistics before the presentation start. For example, we're going to have food. The food is going to be served on the outer part of the space. And just to keep everybody organized, we're going to call upon groups one at a time. So when we call your group, you can go out and get the food and then come back into your space. Each group should have a facilitator. There is a set of questions, and the role of the facilitator will be to keep this conversation here today on track so that we can do this comparison that we're talking about. Could the facilitators raise their hands, please? Okay, 1, 2. Okay, so I think and Jenna, do you have someone else is in there? Okay, wonderful. I think we might need, wonderful. Okay, so we have plenty of facilitators. And then while you're eating, you are going to be conversing with your peers about your experience here today. And then at the end of the presentation, we usually dedicate 10 minutes to go around. And what we like to do is we would like to hear an anecdote or something that struck a note on that it was very important about your presentation. presentation so that you can share there with the rest of the group. So with that in mind, I hope that you enjoy the presentation today. It's, like Estrella and Sherry say, it's a very unusual space, but this is part of why Cultural Connection is so fun, because in a way it's a very organic way of adapting to the needs of the communities. So, you know, this is not an approach about a big museum doing the presentations their way. This is about the communities themselves coming forward and doing this presentation first voice. So we hope that you enjoy the afternoon, and thank you.
Thank you, Rosa. So I'm going to go ahead and be your moderator for the presentation today. I'm Mario Longoni, and I'm the program coordinator for the Division of Environment, Culture, and Conservation at the Field Museum. So with us today, we have a distinguished panel of bowlers and historians and such. So our bowlers today are Geron Vallis, Adrian Damasio, and we have Billy Oatman also. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pose some questions to the bowlers. We're going to get a little demonstration, and then we're also then going to talk a little bit about the history of bowling in these communities in Chicago. So the first thing I want to do is I'll direct this first question to Geron and ask him to tell us a little bit about yourself and your connection to bowling.
Hi everyone, I'm Jaron. I started bowling probably 6 years ago. My parents bowled in leagues, and I just got involved, like following after them. I really just enjoy bowling. I used to bowl in the youth league, which is really big for young guys. You know, I'm in the adults leagues right now, even though I'm 17. I opted out of the youth league, which means I can't bowl in the youth league anymore. Basically, I bowl in an all-Filipino league every Saturday and Sunday. And even though our league is called the all-Filipino mixed, the mixed at the end basically speaks for itself. We don't just have Filipinos bowling in the league anymore. We have Filipino guys, we have Hispanic guys. It's just a mix of everybody. And
So quickly, tell us a little bit about your achievements in bowling.
I bowled for Mather High School here in Chicago. I actually just recently moved into the suburbs. But when I was bowling for Mather High School, I actually qualified for the IHSA state tournament. I was one of the qualifiers. To get in there, I bowled a 745 series. My high game is a 280. Trying to bowl trying to get perfect, but not quite there yet. I was being coached by Patty and Cliff. They owned a pro shop in Morton Grove, but they actually just recently moved to Indiana. So I'm looking for a new coach now, if anybody knows a good coach. And in the league, this is my second year bowling in the adult leagues, and I really like it because the atmosphere, meeting new people, meeting new friends is really great.
Great, thank you. And so then, Adrian, I'll come to you and have you tell us a little bit about about yourself and how you got involved in bowling.
First, I'm a current student at Oakland Community College. Bowling is just like a passion for me. Like, ever since my parents told me that my grandfather did it, like I got curious and I wanted to, take after, like, what not has been finished yet. I want to accomplish more than he does, but, rest in peace. But I'm gonna try my hardest, so hopefully, like, he'll be there to watch me, do everything I can. And bowling is just like a fun sport to me. Like, Jaron, like, he's one of my really good friends, and like we have competitions, we fight a lot, but it's just a game of sports. Competition, it's all it's about. It's having fun. I basically got started bowling probably like when Jaron started 6 years I'm currently with him in bowling leagues. It's called the Phil and Mix, like he said, explained. Every Sundays though, and yeah, it's basically just all about having fun. You know, it helps me a lot. It makes me, you know, want to do more things and accomplish more, and I want to help other people around me. Like I used to work at the bowling alley, and I would hope like customers would like ask me, oh, how would you bowl? So you know, I would tell them to do this, what's differently need to do, and just gives out some few advices.
Okay, great. And then we have Billy Oatman, or Billy O, and if you want to come and tell us a little bit how you got involved in bowling, a little about yourself.
All right.
And then just talk directly into the top of the mic there.
All right. First of all, I want to say thank you for inviting me here. This is pretty awesome. My name is Billy Oatman. I am born and raised on the south side of Chicago on 117th Street, south of, just east of, well, 117th of Peoria, right off of Halsted Street. I started bowling at the age of about 5 or 6. My parents got me involved in a youth league at a bowling center, which was about a block and a half from my house. And I just pretty much excelled toward it. They understood that I had this knack for it. And every Saturday, they put me in leagues, and I would bowl in the junior leagues, just like these guys. They started, but I started at an earlier age. And I pretty much stuck with it. I went to Crane High School on the west side, and we actually won a state championship there, which is pretty cool. I had no intentions on going to college, but my parents told me that I better, or else I'd have to get a job. So I went to a bowling camp and found out that there was a major at Vincennes University in bowling. And I'm like, okay, that's right up my alley. So I think I'd go there. So I went to Vincennes and majored in bowling center management. And I got my associate's degree there, and I bowled at Vincennes University. We had a national champion NJCAA championship there. I went to Wichita University, Wichita State University, which I bowled for. And that's a pretty established bowling school as far as team is concerned. Then I came back to Chicago. I got a job at Ryerson Steel and worked there for 10 years of my life. And then realized once I got laid off that, well, you know, I don't think I'd want to stay in corporate America too much because I sacrificed my aspirations of being on a professional bowlers tour. I remember growing up as a youngster watching on Channel 7 ABC the professional bowlers tour, and Chris Schenkel and those guys bowling or just commentating and watching the pros and wanting to be them. So what happened was the Professional Bowlers Tour actually had a tournament in Hammond at Stardust called the Tour Trials, in which they were taking 10 bowlers out of all the entries to be exempt on the Professional Bowlers Tour. And if those that don't know what exempt means, it's like on golf. If you look at Tiger Woods, Vijay Singh, and all those good players, they don't have to qualify to get in a tournament. They're automatically seeded into a tournament, so they have to go through qualification. That's the same thing on the Professional Bowlers Tour. And the top 58 bowlers ranked in the world actually qualify as being exempt. Well, I finished 11th there, but a gentleman got injured, and they called me up, and so there I was. And after the first year, I finished at the rank of 37th in the world, and I was 2007 PBA Rookie of the Year, the only African American to do so. I've bowled on TV. Is there anybody that's ever seen my bowling matches on TV? All right, cool. Pretty exciting, but my highest finish is second place. I've had over 63 perfect games in my life and over 3,800 series. I have over 5 PBA 300s, and I'm in my 3rd year. I went out on tour when I was 40, and I'm going to start my 3rd year on tour this season. I just competed in a tournament in Hammond, Indiana, and I finished 37th. It would be televised Sunday, but I'm pretty much enjoying myself and fulfilling my dreams, and just to be here is it's just part of the excitement of me being on a professional tour, and I just want to thank you guys for inviting me again.
Thank you so much. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and have a little demonstration. I think, well, actually, what I'm going to ask you to do is, Jaron, if you could tell us a little bit about your style of bowling, then show it to us.
Okay, basically the three basic styles that we know of is a cranker, a stroker, and a tweener. I'm a stroker, which means I put a little hand in the ball, which means I could get under the ball a little bit and get around it and spin it a little bit. I really don't move it that much. I basically just throw it out there. Try to make sure, pray it goes into the pocket. So, here we go. I'll try and demonstrate.
Okay, so in a sense, I mean, like the way it broke a little bit to the left and such, that has to do with the way you're throwing?
Yes, I kind of pulled it, which means I moved my arm a little bit, kind of yanked it a little bit, which I missed my target, which is why I ended up with the 5-pin standing up. And I'm going to try and pick it up, I guess.
Okay, so Adrian, do you want to tell us a little bit about your bowling style?
My typical style of bowling is similar to Jaron. My concept of it is just basically stand left, throw right. You know, that's how I was taught. You know, just this basic idea. Yeah, the way I throw is just same thing like Jaron. Just put a little bit more hand.
Before we go on to Billy, can I have either of you, just one of you tell me a little bit about where did you learn your style? Like, how did you pick it up?
It's basically whatever you're comfortable with. To me, like I always look at other people how they bowl. Try it, maybe make a few adjustments to make me feel better with it. But it's just basically how comfortable you feel about your style of how you want to bowl.
And did you ever have a coach sort of formally teach you?
Yeah, I have a coach. His name's BJ Mikado. I grew up with him when I was like a little kid, and like he's like my inspiration of bowling because he scored like 9 perfect games in leagues, and like one day I want to be like him. So.
All right, so Billy?
Okay. Well, I'm a little different from these guys. I'm left-handed, so don't hold that against me. But I'm pretty much a stroker just like these guys. I tend to play more on the outside part of the lanes, more closer to the gutter, and go up the boards. I might not look as smooth as these guys at the beginning because I didn't get a chance to practice, and these bones are a little bit sore. They're a little bit younger, but I'm going to do my best. It should go right up between. I haven't bowled in this house ever, so we're just going to play it by ear. a lot of gas from bowlers is pretty much how I shoot my spares on the left side because I don't put my fingers in. I just put my thumb in the ball and that's it. And it's kind of hard to hold on, but once you've mastered it, it makes it pretty much simple.
Hang on one second, though. Is that part of being a left-handed bowler, trying to get a left-handed spare?
No, that's just